Hi, I'm Jatrisha, and my presentation will cover cardiovascular disease in Fiji. So, getting to know Fiji. Fiji is located in the South Pacific Ocean. It's made up of 100 inhabited and 200 uninhabited islands, which occupies approximately 18,000 kilometers. In 2015, the population was 892,000. Fiji economy relies heavily on forestry, minerals, fish, sugarcane, and tourism industries. So many healthcare services are free of charge, including outreach and screening for such as HIV, mammograms, but with the exception of public healthcare. So with public healthcare, citizens do have to pay an out-of-pocket expense and any service fees that go along with that. It's also important to add that public hospitals in Fiji may be adequate in metropolitan regions, but in rural areas, public health facilities are either ineffective or non-existent. So in many circumstances, if a person is really in critical need of assistance, they will have to travel up to hours to receive treatment. So that's one of the cons about living in Fiji in an underprivileged area. So coronary artery disease is one of the top killers in Fiji and in the world, killing 360,900 people in 2019. So coronary artery disease develops when the major blood vessel that supplies the heart becomes damaged or diseased. Signs and symptoms include dizziness, chest pain, nausea, vomiting, arrhythmias, so that's irregular heart rhythms. Risk factors include smoking, and this also includes secondhand smoke. So any type of smoke can worsens your condition. Also uncontrollable diabetes and high blood pressure. So it's really important to educate patients about controlling their diabetes and high blood pressure because it can cause the artery to become hardening and thickening, restricting the blood flow and oxygen to the heart. Also, living a sedentary lifestyle. So if you don't exercise, that's also a risk factor because you are at risk for developing obesity too. That's also a risk factor with coronary artery disease. So in the picture on the right, we have a healthy artery, and then below that we get a closer look into the artery that has plaque that's obstructing the blood flow. So the plaque that you see around the artery are cholesterol deposits, and over time, the picture is covered right here, but over time that artery will become more narrow, and a person can have partial or complete obstruction over time. So non-communicable diseases are a major health problem in Fiji that causes a considerable premature mortality and limitation of improvement of life expectancy here. So we're going to look into how Fiji is doing with handling coronary artery disease. So here in Fiji, the way that they control their NCDs is through primary prevention, which is a lot similar to how the United States handles health promotions. So they educate their clients about the importance of a healthy diet. They educate their clients on the importance of exercising, ways that they can try to eliminate or just lessen how much they consume of tobacco and alcohol, and they do a lot of health promotion and policy regulation of marketing and supply. So for instance, like raising taxes on tobacco and cigarettes, or raising the taxes of alcohol consumption. That's what they're doing in Fiji. Another way that Fiji controls NCDs is involving individual approaches of detection and treatments of cases of non-communicable diseases, which also includes secondary and tertiary preventions. So I had some limitations when trying to find information about how they treat secondary and tertiary preventions. I didn't really find anything, but I can guess that it's similar to how United States and probably other countries when they're trying to prevent a person from getting coronary artery disease again. They probably do have some I cannot say this word, rehabilitation centers and stuff like that. In Fiji, there's also a drive towards wellness, which looks at the person in a more holistic approach and not just the disease that person may have. So that is how Fiji is doing with handling coronary artery disease, and I look forward to answering anyone's questions.